Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. Welcome and thank you for attending this YOL Intelligence live market briefing dedicated to the CMOS image sensor market. My name is Faisal El-Kamasi. I'm a global sales coordination and customer support manager for YOL Group. Based on our last version on the CIS monitor, the objective of this live market briefing is to take a quick look into 2021 to examine the recent trajectory of the CIS market before focusing on the short and medium-term outlook for the industry. As we cover market dynamics, we will try to answer the question, are we at the beginning of strong growth on the back of sensing application? Pierre Cambou will provide this CIS industry snapshot extracted from the YOL's highlight details CMOS image sensor market monitors 2022 Q2 edition. Before we get started, I reminded you that you are encouraged to submit questions to our analysts during all the live events using the Ask a Question window at the bottom of the screen. Questions will be answered right after the presentation. In case we don't have time to answer all of them, we will follow up with you by email. To conclude, this live event is recorded. You will receive tomorrow an email with the link to access the recorded session. So let's start the webcast and welcome Pierre. Pierre, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Faisal, and hello, everyone. Glad to be here with you for the next 20 minutes presenting the latest insight from our Q2 22 monitor. So on the question, is the CIS market back to strong growth? And on the back of sensing, this is the big question. All right. So let's start first with the global view. Image sensor is a specialty product, semiconductor product, representing 3.8%, so almost 4% of the global semiconductor industry, which is dominated by memories, processors, and logic. So all the advanced node application and technologies. What's new now is the growing importance of more and more technologies, which image sensors are part of. So that's the MTM share, which represent about 30%. As we have seen more recently with the acquisition of TPSco and Tower from Intel, is the interdependence of all the more and more semiconductor product and the more than more. So this is really part of this trend of growing importance of more than more and growing importance of image sensor. This growing importance can be seen in the last decade. About 10 years ago, image sensors was representing 2%, below 2%, and gradually gain importance, primarily based on the growing importance for mobile, but also other markets, automotive, computing, and security. We expect next year to maintain 3.8% share. And if we look now at the growth, the year-on-year growth, what we've seen in the past, and this is the graph on the right, the growth, the year-on-year growth was kind of synchronized with the global semiconductor industry. And what happened in 2019 was kind of a split. The semiconductor industry had a drop due to the memory burst. And at the same time, we had trade tensions between the US and China and the Huawei ban. And this induced capacity issues on the back also of the multi-camera trends in mobile. So a lot of demand. and price increases. And then we had a 25% growth in 2019. And we are not out of this burst, so of this bubble, sorry. So during 2 years, we maintained significant growth until 21. And so in 21, last year, kind of the balance of what happened a year ago, a year before. Now we have the semiconductor industry growing 25%, and the CIS having some kind of soft landing around 2.8 year-on-year growth. Hopefully, by the end of this year, so 2022, we expect to reconcile and to be back synchronized with the semiconductor industry about 8 to 10%. So now, if we look at players, dominant player so far is Sony with about 40%, Samsung 23% market share, and Omnivision 13%. This represents about 75% of the market, and then we have single-digit players, so ST Microelectronics, onsemi, Galaxy Core, SK Hynix, now newly public company SmartSense. What we can see is the gains of Omnivision in 21, really due to the fact mobile is no more the sole driver of growth, and we have seen 3 markets: computing, so tablets and laptops, automotive and security, having more growth than mobile, and therefore the diversified portfolio of Omnivision helped them gain some market share. So we can look at the same industry wide view and now split it by markets, and we can see that even mobile was kind of representing 70% in 2020. Is now only 63%, which is a huge share. But then because of larger growth, security, automotive, and computing are about 7, 9 to 10% each. So really driving more the growth of image sensors. So if we look now at the growth pattern along the timeline, Yole Development has been monitoring for more than a decade this market, this industry, and gradually we have raised our forecast due to the increasing interest and demand, especially for mobile. What we've seen in 2019, departing from our prediction, was really some kind of short-term issue that was raised from the US to China trade tensions. So the Huawei ban and other US restrictions on for example, other companies like Hikvision and Dahua led to increase on the short term, increase in demand with a lot of stockpiling, and it continued in 2020 until end of 2020. Huawei was going to really stop from purchasing any more components, and image sensors included. And now it seems that 21 has reconciled the growth, and we should expect going back on the growth pattern we've seen in the past. So this is really the big takeaway. We are out of the wood now and expecting a 6.5% CAGR for the next 5 years. This will induce a 6.5 increase in the production. So revenue if we don't include any kind of price increases due to inflation or foreign exchange, this will induce a 6.5% growth in capacity. This is kind of the pattern we've seen in the past. Historically, the three main players, Sony, Samsung, and TSMC, had most of the capacity. Now, because of stacking, there is a more diversified player list. We've seen UMC coming in. Now, more recently, Global Foundry. Now, with the new name, so TPSCo is now Intel Semiconductor Service. So, yeah, more diversified offer, and we expect the growth of capacity to be about 6.5%. Why do we think image sensor industry will grow? Mainly by the analysis of mobile. So I will quickly go through our analysis of mobile, which represent, again, between 60 and 70% of this industry. What we've seen in the past 5 years is really a decrease in volume. So we had about 2 billion, so taking into account smartphone and feature phones. So we were close to 2 billion units per year, and we went down to 1.7 in 2020. And then we had a rebound in 2021. So this is excellent news. So we are the growth, some of the growth come from this rebound in terms of volume of handset. About the future, we have re-evaluated our objective for 22, which is quite conservative. And for the future, relatively flattish volume, which is still significant, between 1.7 and 1.8 billion units per year. So, but that doesn't mean image sensor will be flattish. So we will look at the number of image sensors. We need to check at the breakdown of camera arrangement on the front and on the rear being the most significant. What we've seen in 21 is the decrease of rear single arrangement, a flattish, about 17% of all smartphones were with dual rear. Then a significant increase in rear triple, so probably beyond 40% in 22, so around 37 in 21, and rear quad around 24%, no change, and no pickup of the penta. But globally, if we combine all this together, you can quickly understand that the volume of handset being stable, we get the volume of the rear single to be compensated by the growth of triple. You have an increase of camera module per phone globally, and this will gradually increase with time until at least for the few years ahead of us. What we've seen is some a slower growth, mainly due to Huawei. Huawei was really the leader in terms of number of cameras, and I picture here the Huawei P40 with 5 cameras. So indeed, if you remove a player with 5 cameras for the flagships, gradually you can slow down. You will slow down this trend, but then as Honor will maybe grow again this kind of approaches, then we will again see more of those multiple camera with penta and maybe more. So this is the multiple. So I spent some time on multiple. Now we'll spend some time on the size of the image sensor. And size of the image sensor do matter. Here is the Apple lineup since the last 10 years, and we see two things. One is the increase in number of cameras, imaging and sensing, and also the increase in the size, especially on the main camera. The main camera, which is the wide, I think it's called wide, but in fact is the principal camera on the rear of the phone. We can see that we have a trend of increasing optical format. For the other image sensors, relatively, the optical format stays relatively constant. The only decision the OEM has to make right now is will I make more? Will I advocate for more resolution with a smaller pixel, or should I go with less resolution with a big pixel? This is kind of the trade-off they make. In the end, doesn't really matter. This kind of decision will vary depending the OEM. Now the real question for the industry is the size of the image sensor, and we can see that now we have a new type of sensing image sensor, which is the LiDAR. So if we count for 21, the share of imaging image sensors representing 75%, and the share of sensing represent 25% in surface. This share, if we now look at the whole image sensor industry, represent, so we can add to the mobile sensing, we can add optical fingerprint, mouse, optical mouse, sensing for drones. We can add ADAS camera in automotive. We can also add all the machine vision industrial products. So, okay, if we add all this together, this represents 7.6% of the industry. And if we draw the line of 5 years, within 5 years, this should represent 15%. So this growth is super significant. This sensing will grow at a rate of 20% CAGR. So very significant and a large part of the growth of the image sensing industry. Now, I will focus more on the short term and can give you the latest insight we get from at Q2. So looking at the first quarter of the year, a result of the first quarter ended up a little bit below. So we below our expectation, 4.7 billion. This is really a continuation of what happened in the previous quarter. So we had still the consequence of COVID-19, of some of the trade dispute in the context of semiconductor shortage. So definitely the context is not favorable in Q1. If we look also at the end of the quarter, we had the start of the war in Ukraine, and also COVID-19 in Shanghai. So then we really had some downward pressure on the market. One of this key impact on the market is the foreign exchange, and we've all heard about the prediction of Sony that is looking into a 37% growth in 2022. And here is the foreign exchange of yen versus US dollar in the pink. So that's the line above 1.15. So really, we can expect that 20% 20 point of the 37 might be just a foreign exchange advantage. So this is the case for yen, this is for won, and also if you buy wafers to Taiwan, so this is Taiwan is the purple lane, still a little bit expensive. So a lot of what will happen in 22 will depend on this curve, and so we will monitor closely what happens. So I said the Q1 was, so on the left you have the short term, and on the right you have the medium term forecast. If we look at Q1, it's -4% in respect to Q1 of 21. So this is not a bad result. Q1 of 21 was relatively good due to it was in the midst of the COVID-19 issues in 21, and some production could not be done in Q4, and then overlapped to Q1, so last year. So then in respect to the Q1 of 21, Q1 of 22 looks a little bit weak, but our analysis is that this Q1 was okay, and we are relatively optimistic about the next quarters, leading to an expected 8% growth, 8 to 9% growth this year in 22. So in conclusion, yes, our Q1 22 was slightly below expectation, but this is really usually the weakest of the year, as due to smartphones and consumer electronics. Additional weaknesses were provided due to the war in Ukraine and the outburst of COVID-19 in Shanghai. For the next quarters, we expect some increase and growth in volume and revenue. We know that there is a price pressure for the 45 and 19 nanometer nodes. So wafer prices are going up. So this is really part of the expected growth, which will be good on the revenue side and maybe less on the volume side. Will be compensated maybe through the foreign exchange changes that we are monitoring. So today, the CMOS image sensor industry remain a key driving technology. Is providing key driving technology to the main mega trends, mobile, automotive, smart IoT, and more. And really, as a conclusion, sensing is really adding to the strength of the growth of this industry. So I thank you very much, and I will ask maybe some questions.
Thank you very much, Pierre, for this very interesting presentation. So we received many questions. So yeah, we are about to answer. So yeah, maybe we can start with the first question. Yeah, we received many questions. So okay, what's the potential of SWIR sensor growth for application like under display Face ID, which is more possible 3-5 based on SIG based material?
Okay, so yes, there is a huge kind of rumor around under display cameras and using SWIR sensor. And so from our point of view, and we've just published a SWIR sensor report, the maturity for image sensor is not there yet. So right now, yes, we've seen silicon germanium approaches that are more for automotive, but the cost of an image sensor is today is too much. Okay, so what we believe is this could be for proximity detectors. For proximity detectors, so very small, smaller chips. Yes, this is probably some of the key novelty we will see, you know, maybe this year or the year after. This is fully possible, but not image sensor. We don't believe of full-size image sensor.
Do you? There is another question. Do you believe 200 megapixel will take significant market share?
So yes, as I said, it depends the OEM. So we know that Samsung, for example, has 100 megapixels. So it's highly possible that in the future we see very high resolution image sensors, and Apple will most certainly go from the 12 megapixel they have right now to the 48 end of this year. So the trend is for raising the resolution. Now I cannot tell you what is the share. It really depends. We see, you know, between the 3 and 4 big, larger OEMs, you have very differentiated strategies, and some do choose higher resolution. And okay, will it sustain? This is more difficult to assert.
Okay, very clear. Thank you. Thank you for this answer. Another question, what is the impact of wafer price increase?
Okay, wafer price increase will, in the end, so for example, the key impact will be for Sony first, because they buy their wafers from TSMC, so the logics, and UMC, and then you have also OmniVision buying wafers to TSMC. So yes, part of the industry is this trade of logic wafer, this supply of which will impact the bottom line of those companies, definitely. And so the price, there will be some price pressure, not only because the size of image sensor grow, it's also because purchasing the wafers will get more expensive. So some of the ASP growth will come from the wafer, so the increase in price of pressure. But what I see also is very interesting is there is a differentiated growth from 90 nanometer 45 and to 28. So the growth in price, increase in price, is less for 28 than it is for 90 and 45. So there is this price increase for wafers is helping moving the needle toward more advanced nodes. So we've seen the latest image sensors, the wide and the tele in the Apple is now a 28 nanometer from Sony. So obviously we are going to higher nodes.
Okay, thank you. Maybe we have time for a last question. What about quantum films introduction for mobile phone? That's something.
So we have seen this topic for a few years now, due to the interest of Apple to the topic, and we know that quantum dot had kind of was pivoted from imaging to sensing before being sold to Apple. So so we know this quantum dot approaches could eventually serve this sensing trend. Will it be in mobile, or will it be for AR, VR headsets, or something totally different? We don't know. The capability of quantum dot goes beyond the wavelength of silicon, so it can go beyond the 1100 nanometer. So really, you could get again this SWIR image sensors that the rumor is talking about. so much. So yes, we are waiting for that. This could be kind of the next logical step for 2D sensing or sensing in general. And so we are looking forward this kind of approach to really occur within the next few years, for sure.
Thank you very much for answering this question. The live market briefing is now ending. We still have some questions. We'll do our best to answer directly by email. Thank you again, Pierre, for your time and analysis. To everyone, you will receive soon an email with the link to the presentation within 24 hours. Feel free to share the presentation with colleagues. Finally, please let me remind you that you can find all our report, tracks, and monitors on our website, www.yolgroup.com. That's a new website. Do not hesitate to contact us if you have additional questions. You can find our contact details on the last slide of the presentation. Thank you all for joining us today, and have a good day and take care.